Welcome. This presentation is for anyone, especially beginners, who would like to improve their skills in photography. The topic of my presentation today is looking and seeing. Have you seen the movie Avatar? It came out in 2009, and it won several Academy Awards for visual effects, cinematography, and production design. Avatar tells the story of the Na'vi, a tribal people who live on a forest planet, much like the Native Americans in this country. The Na'vi are a deeply spiritual people who are in touch with the wonders of nature. I watched Avatar again recently on Disney Plus, and I noticed something interesting. The Na'vi have a saying that they use in a very specific way, and that saying is, "I see you." When one character says to another character, "I see you," it doesn't just mean you're in my field of vision. It's more profound than that. To see is a cornerstone of the Na'vi philosophy. It is to open your mind and heart to the present, and to embrace something or someone as if encountering them for the very first time. When they say, "I see you," it means I see your essence and our deep connection, and you mean everything to me. Now, my mom was an artist and an art teacher. Every year on the first day of class, she would give out index cards to her students. Each index card had a 2-inch hole cut into the center. "This is your viewfinder," she told them, "and it will help you to see." The kids put the cards up to their faces and looked through the hole. At first they thought it was pretty silly. I have to admit that when I was a student in my mom's art class, I thought it was pretty silly too. But that was because I really didn't understand the difference between looking and seeing. We look at everything all day long. It's an automatic process, a way of navigating through the world, finding what we need, watching videos, glancing at other people, whatever. It's something that we usually take for granted and hardly ever notice at all. But now think about an artist. An artist walks around and sees the world, much like the Na'vi. An artist notices shapes, forms, lines, colors, textures, proportions, light and shadow. He or she observes how one thing is related to another. A true artist pays attention to the emotion of an object or a person. He or she studies reality, its simplicity and complexity, up close and far away. I see you, caterpillar on a leaf. I see you, tree who is older than I am. I see you, owl. I see you, world. So we looked through the little cutout holes in our index cards, feeling self-conscious at first, but gradually beginning to understand. We looked at ordinary objects such as a book, a pen, a chair, and seeing how extraordinary they really are. There's really no way to teach you how to do this. You just have to trust yourself, and it will come eventually when you not just look, but see. That was actually the start of my love of photography. The camera is just another kind of index card. It helps you to see the world around you in amazing ways because it focuses your awareness. The photos you take are a living record of your interaction with the universe. When I look back at a picture I took years ago, it takes me right back to that moment and what I was experiencing then and there. Now I have to get a little bit technical, so please bear with me. Most people always use their camera in automatic mode. There's like a little computer inside your camera that measures the light and tries to choose the best settings for you. A lot of times, this is good enough. Even your phone can take very nice pictures whenever you click the button. But there are some situations where you need to take control. Let's say you're trying to photograph a player running past you on a football field. If you don't have the correct settings, your photo will just turn out blurry. The secret is to switch to shutter priority mode and set your shutter speed fast enough to capture the action. The shutter is like an eyelid. If I close my eyes, I am not taking a picture. If I then open my eyes briefly, the light comes in and hits the retina, which is the sensor at the back of my eye. Even if my eyes then close again, I can still see a lingering image, which is known as an eidetic image that lasts a short time, and it's sort of like a photograph. The problem with super high shutter speeds is that your image gets darker and darker the faster you set them. If I open and close my eyes just once, very rapidly, not much light reaches the retina, and the same is true for your camera. So what can you do about that? Fortunately, there's a second setting. It's known as ISO, and it's a measure of how sensitive your camera's sensor is to light. Low ISO, less sensitivity. High ISO, more sensitivity. So, if you're photographing someone blowing out the candles on a birthday cake, yes, you need a reasonably fast shutter speed to capture that action. But you also need to adjust your ISO upwards to pick up enough available light. Problem solved, right? Well, almost. Depending on your camera model, raising the ISO too high can make your photos look grainy. Photographers call this noise. And it really doesn't look good, especially on skin tones and other features that are meant to look smooth. So that brings us to one more setting that you can control. We've talked about shutter speed, and we've talked about ISO. And the third point on the exposure triangle is called aperture. Aperture refers to how wide open your shutter is when it's taking a picture. If you go to the eye doctor and have your pupils dilated, they're open really wide, and they let in so much light that you might even need to wear dark glasses for a while. In a camera, a wide open aperture lets in more light. It's signified by a low number such as f1.4 or f1.8. The lower the number, the wider the opening, just like wide open pupils in your eyes. Wide apertures are great in some cases. If I'm taking someone's senior portrait, I want her face to be in sharp focus, but the background to be soft and blurry. That's a really nice look. Some newer phones even have a portrait mode, which does the same thing. However, if I'm photographing a landscape with great distances, I want a really small aperture such as f20 or f22 because that will put all the elements of my shot into clear focus. A tripod is recommended because small apertures require slower shutter speeds. So, which is the most important? Is it shutter speed, ISO, or aperture? Generally, I'll bump up my ISO only as high as necessary for the situation to avoid noise. And then, if I'm shooting something that's moving, that's shutter priority. And if I'm photographing something that's standing still, then it's aperture priority. All of this is in service to what I spoke about at the beginning. A photograph is a record of what you see with your eyes, with your mind, and with your heart. So when you walk with your camera, slow yourself down and pay attention. Don't just look, but really see. Thank you.